Welcome back student to our complex analysis course. So, today we will like to cover a very interesting thing that we mentioned in the last few class, but we did not cover it. So, that is multi-valued function and branches. Multi-valued function we have already covered this, but branches we did not cover that much. So, let me do it once again. So, the concept of multi-valued function in complex analysis is important, because for example, if I have one function z to the power half, we know that this is a multi-valued function. In the previous class we have done few things related to this particular function, but let us go back to that thing and try to understand more about this thing. So, I can write this function z to the power half as mod of z to the power half e to the power I argument of z, because any complex function I know can write as r e to the power of I theta. Here by 2 should be here, because this is r e to the power I theta. R is nothing but the mod of z and theta is nothing but the argument of z. If the function or the point z is here somewhere with an angle theta, then this is the angle theta for that particular point z, and this is the magnitude, and we define with these two, we define the location of these things, which is this. The problem is not with however with this length, the problem is with theta. So, now let us try to find out what is the z to the power half, what is the thing. So, that means if I have a point here, this is in z plane, now this is related to a function f z which is z to the power half, and we know that we can plot these things in my w plane, where this function can be represented at u plus iv in this form. But the thing is that since it is z to the power half, so if I rotate the entire point to one circle starting from here to here, say z is a point which I am rotating with this path, that means essentially I am changing this value of theta. In that plane I can only able to cover up to this. Why? Because my argument here is divided by 2, because my function is z to the power half. So, if I have a full rotation in z plane, in w plane I will have something which cover up to this, it will not going to cover the entire lower part, only the upper part will going to be covered. Now, in order to cover the lower part, we need to rotate once again another round, and because of that I will get the lower part. But the question is, let me erase this. The question is about the value. So, this argument as I mentioned will create the problem. So, f z is equal to z to the power half e to the power of I theta by 2 if I take this theta as my principal value, right. Now, the same z point can be represented by this, because if I rotate with this, if I rotate another 2 pi, so I will return back to the same point as I mentioned. So, let me draw that once again. This is my z, I am rotating these things and return back to the same point. So, my z is same, the location of z is same corresponding to these two, but let us check what is the value of this quantity. It is e to the power of I theta by 2 multiplied by e to the power of I pi. E to the power of I pi is essentially minus 1. So, minus of this is a new value that I have for the same z. So, in the first case, if I take my principal theta, then I will have one value, but if I rotate to another 2 pi, so that I can cover in w plane, I can cover the entire range, I will have something like this, having a negative thing. So, these two things are little bit ambiguous, because I will have the same z point here, and in the first case I will have 1 values and the second case I will have 1 values. So, for the if I say this is f1 which gives you the positive value, f2 is something which gives you the negative value. So, the total function is f, and f1 and f2 are behaving like two branches giving two different values for the fact in the keeping that mind that theta is now changing to 2 pi. So, that means there are two branches because of which I am getting two different values for a given function. So, that is why this is called a multi-valued function. I will come to that multi-valued function more, but let us try to understand these basic things. So, now how to represent these things, because as I mentioned there is a ambiguity that for a same z point I am having for the same z point I am having two different values in my w plane. So, I mean what is the procedure to do that? So, in order to understand that, okay, we understand this roughly. By the way, this f1 and f2 are two branches as I mentioned. So, fz is z to the power half, that was my original function, and from that I figure out one value is mod of z whole to the power half e to the power of I theta by 2, another value is minus of this. It is exactly same like in the real case plus minus. If I want to find a root, for example, root over of 4 is result is plus minus 2. One branch is for plus, another branch is for minus, but in complex case I need to be more careful because things are slightly different here. So, now let me try to give you the essence of this multi-valued function in terms of some kind of projection or some kind of topology. For example, this is my x, this is my y, and this is my xy plane, and perpendicular I have fz. If it is a single valued case, whatever the function, if the function is single valued, so for single valued function, for a single valued function, whatever the z is in this plane, so x and y, z is x plus I y. So, somewhere here the z is located by this point. Now, it is moving. So, it is a variable. So, it is moving. So, every time for one z I will have one functional value f z, and if I plot that, it will be a surface, because z is moving over this surface. So, for each z, assume that for each z I will have one single value here somewhere, and based on what is the function, we will have the surface. So, the surface is looking something like this. Just I try to draw, I do not know exactly what is the function, but if I plot that, it will be something like this. These are the merely the coordinates I am plotting to show you the essence that how these things may work. Some sort of wavy planes are there. So, I have one point here, and for this point, suppose I will have one point by red mark, say I will have one point here over this sheet f z. Then if I shift this point to somewhere here or somewhere here, I am moving this point in f z, and I am making this surface, whatever the surface is drawn here. This is an arbitrary surface. Since the f z is a single valued function, for one particular point I should have one surface like this, because this is a single valued. One point in this is z, one point in xy plane, and as a result I will have one particular point over this sheet. Fine. Now, I will do the same thing for multivalued function. So, how it will going to differ? So, let me do that. I believe you will readily understand then how these things are working. Again, I will draw a coordinate system like this, where x and y is here, and suppose I am plotting f z or some real or imaginary part of f z, because f z itself contains real or imaginary part, but it is just a rough way to understand how the things is working here. Again, for a point z here, I should have one point like this, but since this is a multivalued case, so this is a multivalued function. So, the basic difference is I will have 2 points here and here somewhere. So, first I will have some point here. Since this is a multivalued, I should have another point also for the same z. That is the case we have in the previous example. We have root over of z, and we find that for a single value of z, I should have two values, one is positive and another is negative. So, here if I again draw the surface, let me draw it properly so that you can realize it is very difficult to draw three dimensional object in this way, but I believe you understand how these things are working. So, this is surface 1. So, for this value I will have some here, but I should have another surface because this is a multivalued function. So, another surface somewhere here. like a sheets of paper. Fine. So, here you can understand that in this case, if I have one sheet of paper, because this is a single valued function, for multi-valued function, if this is my z point, one z corresponds to a single point here, also some point here, and since z is changing and z is changing with a function f z, a given form, and based on that I can plot these two surfaces. Now, the question is, for the multi-valued function, these two surfaces are not separate like this, some point they are merged to each other in a complicated way. It depends on the function, they are merged to some point in a complicated way. For example, in some, if I extend these things somewhere in for some value of z, it will merge to each other. I do not know in which way it will going to merge, but maybe it is like something like this, it will merge in some like this, they are merging, there is a common point where the two values are same. That particular point, the common point, is called the branch point, and if there are many branch points are there, they are called the branch line, because we are making the line. So, I will show you something. So, after having a rough knowledge about how the multi-valued function visually look, it will be much easier for you to realize the thing. Now, let us go back to our original problem that I start with, that f z is z to the power half. So, one f1 value is root over of z, whatever the value, and another f1, f2, another branch, say it is minus of root over of z. After rotating 2 pi, it comes down to a negative value. So, how I realize that? Again, I can draw very interesting sheets like that, since it is a multi-valued function. So, I can draw two sheets, which is called, let me first draw these sheets, then I will explain how things are going on. So, say this is and another sheets may be here. It is something like this. So, let me draw one important thing, that okay, this function f z, f1 of z will be equal to f2 of z at z equal to 0. So, z equal to 0 So, z equal to 0 is a point which we called the branch point. And also z tends to infinity is also another branch point. So, now if I, since the two branch points I have, if I glue these two branch point, say this is my first z equal to 0 point, and this is my x axis, positive x axis, say, which goes to infinity. I can go infinity in any direction, mind it, but let us take the positive x axis as my direction of infinity for this case. So, here you can, if I glue these things, so the paper is joined here in this, from here to here, from 0 to infinity, and other part is open. So, this is called the Riemann sheets. So, in the Riemann sheets, now I can represent my points. In the Riemann sheets, what happened in the first branch, if I rotate this z point to 0 to pi. So, it will be like this, it will give you it will be on the first Riemann sheet, and then when it crosses these things after rotating 2 pi, it will just slide down to the next sheet, it will slide down to the next sheet, and again I will have something. So, in the first rotation it will be in the first sheet, and when it crosses this line, this branch cut, we call this a branch cut. When it is in branch cut, there is a discontinuity because we have a negative sign here, and it slides down to the next sheet. So, this lower sheet corresponds to say minus and the upper sheet is plus. So, it is in the upper sheet for the time being when the theta is up to 2 pi, and then it goes to the next, exactly the next one when it crosses this branch line. So, it slides down to the next thing. So, if I look from this side, so obviously it will be something like this. From if you look this from this side, so it will be something like this. So, this okay, let me draw this in this way. This is my first sheet and my lower sheet is something like this. Here it is glued. So, the point was initially here, when it is rotated and cross this line, it will slide down to the next one, that is the thing. The point was here, it is rotated, and when it cross, because it is glued, when it cross, it go back to the next part. So, here to here. If this value is positive, after rotating 2 pi, it goes to the next one. So, now it is clear that when the point is here and when the point is here, two different values I should get. Now, the ambiguity that the same z, for same z I am getting two things is now gone, because now these 2 points I can identify clearly that it crosses the branch cut and it slide down to the next point. When it slide down to the next point, I will have these things. Okay. So, now we have a rough idea about what is the meaning of branches and multivalued function. So, let me go on with that with another very interesting example that is important, that is log of z, this quantity. Again, z is mod of z e to the power of I theta, if theta is a principal angle, or rather I should write it as argument of z. So, this quantity is how much? Log of mod z plus I argument of z, this quantity. Now, this argument of z, I know it is big argument of z plus 2 n pi. That means, if a z is given to me, I will, when I make a log of that, I will get different values. So, if I now plot that this is my x, y, some point z is here, this is my u v, this is my function f z, which is this quantity. So, my u is this quantity and v is that quantity. So, my u here is log of z and my v here is argument of z, which is essentially theta plus 2 n pi, if theta is my principal angle, this quantity. Now, for a single point here, how I plot that? So, my u is some fixed value here and v is what? V is theta if n is 0. So, somewhere some value here, but if I now go for different n values, it will be some other points also. So, I will get another point here also, another point here also, another point here also, and so on. So, that means for a single point I will have two I have more values depending on the values of n. So, now how to represent these things, how to find out that how these things are there. It is a way you can do that. If I change my theta, say like this in the previous case, I am now rotating my z, so that I am changing my theta, and now after one rotation I am returning back the same point, but here after one rotation means my n value is now 1, after two rotation means my n value is 2, and so on. So, now if I see somewhere here the value, so when I start from here x equal to 0 and y equal to x equal to that point and y equal to 0, that means I am having somewhere here, and now I am rotating. So, when I am rotating, I will go back to this point, then again I am go back to this point, again I am go back to this point, and so on. That means, with the rotation here I am rotating in such a way that I am having the same point, and not only this is not a single curve, this is a continuous value, because z can take any values from here. I am taking only for a fixed z here, mod of z, but mod of z can also vary as well as the theta. So, for entire range whatever the z are there, they can change, but if they have a one radius, so the value is rotating like this, and for each case I am having the same point, and these points are corresponding to this theta plus 2n. So, this is also an interesting thing. This is also called the Riemann surface. So, every time we have a multivalued function, the point is every time if you have a multivalued function, if you try to find out the Riemann surface, you will get this kind of weird looking surface every time. And it is interesting because with that you can distinguish the case. For example, when I have this point which correspond to the same point, then I understand that for this z the theta is theta plus 2 pi, for this z the theta is theta plus 4 pi, and so on. And every time I will change the theta, so that is why it is like this. So, this is interesting thing. I will suggest the student to just look in the internet or any other books, just Riemann surface. And Riemann surfaces, you will find there are ample amount of examples and the visualization of the Riemann surface for different kind of multivalued functions. So, if you see that in that books or from that references or from internet, you will readily understand that how these surfaces are formed, but you should understand first the basic thing that for multivalued function I should have some kind of layered thing, and if one layer we have one value, the second layer we have one value, and so on. So, they are called essentially they are called the different branches. So, that means for each branches I will have one value. When I change the branch, I will go to the next branch, that means the next set of values, and so on. So, with this I would like to conclude today's class. Today you will learn you have learned a very interesting thing, multivalued function and branches. In different part of the complex analysis this concept are used, and it is important also to understand how these things are working, especially when z is changing. There are two parameters are associated with that, one is r and theta. So, that is why these kind of things appear in this way. So, with this note, let me conclude today's class. See you in the next class. Thank you for your attention.